Aerospace is about reaching further. Further in technology, into space, and into the future. You want to reach further too. You enjoy puzzling, prototyping, and pioneering. You're drawn to complex questions behind how to make aviation and space travel ready for tomorrow. Quieter, safer, faster, and cleaner. You'll join a community of students from all over the world who, just like you, get bright-eyed over anything that flies. Being part of such a diverse international group prepares you for the aerospace world from day one. This industry revolves around teamwork and a global point of view. That's why it's such an advantage when you've already worked during your studies with people from different cultures, with different perspectives, norms, and values. In our hangar and labs, and on site with partner companies, you will work on technological innovation that reaches past aerospace itself. From developing satellites, to improving wind turbines and Formula One materials. That's how you grow into an engineer who helps technology reach further.
Applied Aerospace Live.
Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode number 4 from Applied Aerospace Live. My name is Erik Laan. I'm a lecturer of space engineering here at Inholland University. I'm your host for this episode. You might think, well, why am I wearing this strange cowboy hat? Well, that's because I have a co-host today, which is Charlotte Pouwels, and she is my fellow Space Cowboy, or should I say cowgirl, with the BNR Space Cowboys podcast.
Yes.
So welcome, Charlotte. I won't keep this hat up for long, but yeah, welcome. Great to have you on the show with us. You're with the CTO and co-founder of ICEE.Space. Yeah, so please tell us a bit more about ICEE.Space.
Yeah, so ICEE.Space is all about human spaceflight. Basically, before we send anything up to the astronauts or up to the ISS or even to the moon, which we're going to talk about later today as well, we have to test it here on Earth. We have to make sure everything is completely ready up to the finest details. So that's what we do with analog astronaut missions, and that is what we do with ICEE.Space.
Okay, great. Yeah, we're watching a trailer, I believe, from a documentary that they're preparing for Artemis.
Yes, exactly, because we conduct analog missions all over the world and mostly in extreme locations such as the lava tubes on Iceland. And that is because the lava tubes on Iceland look very similar to what we can expect with the lava tubes on the moon. Not sure if you already knew that there were lava tubes on the moon. And these basically offer natural protection against radiation, thermal insulation, or micrometeorites that can land on the moon. So it's an ideal shelter for astronauts for future survival and a future of lunar missions.
Okay. Yeah, so you're training the future astronauts, or we call them analog astronauts, to practice how it would be to be actually on the moon or Mars.
So we are not actually training the analog astronauts or training astronauts. We are really focusing on the experiments and on the scientists, but the analog astronauts are basically our test lab. So basically the projects people that are willing to execute all these different experiments. And we select them basically similar to an ESA astronaut selection. Of course, it's not as rigorous as an ESA astronaut selection, but these are highly qualified people to survive in extreme environments.
Okay.
Because can you imagine you're locked up for 2 weeks with only 2 people or with 4 people, and you have no communication to anyone else, and you have to pee in a diaper, recycle everything. Yeah, it's pretty intense.
It's pretty intense, yes. And actually we see here in the terminal, our lab facility at Inholland, and we also have a part of the building that's dedicated for companies, and actually ICEE.Space is one of those companies that is also in the terminal, and they're growing, they're building a beautiful facility. So whenever you come to the terminal, please, when you enter the building, have a look at the right. There you see like a tunnel kind of thing, which is your habitat that you're
Yes,
building
so
out here?
at the terminal, we're not in an extreme environment, of course, but we can still test different elements. So instead of testing up to technology readiness level 3, which is technology readiness level 6, which is in a relevant environment, such as a lunar or a Martian environment, we test here technology readiness level 3, which means proof of concept. So if you're a university student or any student that is working on a lunar or Martian project, and you want to test and validate it, you can come to us here in the terminal in Delft, and we will help you getting your data.
Yeah. So that's great to hear. I look forward now discussing with you the Artemis 2 mission. Of course, we are following this every day with our webcast, Applied Aerospace Live, and so we are at flight day or mission day 3, I believe. The Orion capsule is about midway from the Earth to the Moon. So the astronauts are training, are practicing, but they also downloaded quite a lot of data to the ground, and also some imagery from the rocket as it launched from Earth. And we'll be seeing that in a few seconds. But first, they sent down this beautiful image of the Earth. This was a picture taken by the camera of Reed Wiseman, the commander of Orion. And this is now like becoming an iconic picture already from the Artemis 2 mission. The funny thing about this picture is that people don't understand, or actually the captions of this picture on the NASA website doesn't mention that we're actually looking at the dark side of the Earth. So we are not looking at the light side. This is light that is being reflected on the Earth by the Moon, actually.
Exactly.
And so there is a long exposure time. And we're looking at the night, and if you look closely, you can see in the north, you see like a greenish thing, so that's Aurora Borealis, but also in the south, we can see also Borealis in the Antarctica. I don't know how you call that. On
the Northern Lights.
Southern Lights. And also what's interesting in this picture is that you can actually see the zodiacal dust. So we have a lot of dust in our solar system, and you see that at the right bottom side, there is the dust that reflects basically light from the sun, which is behind the Earth, and that reflects light into the camera. So this is a beautiful picture of the Earth. And basically, there was again the philosophical perspective of the astronauts. Is that, look, this is where all the people of Earth live, and we are with 4 people outside of that, and that's like. That's like a very interesting perspective, I believe. If you take a picture where you know, okay, all the other people are all in the picture except for me, exactly. And so that's I feel that there's an intense emotion. But let's continue to the videos that we got back from the Artemis 2 launch. We see the SLS rocket lift off. From the pad. Actually, this is a camera mounted on the SLS rocket. You have to check the booster, that's really vibrating when it lifts off, showing the huge amount of thrust on this booster. And the funny thing is, you also see on the booster black and white blocks, basically, and those are unique for each booster, so they're not the same, those 2 boosters. So the visuals on those 2 boosters are different for each booster, actually. So
they're identifiers, but they're also kind of waypoints. So you can also use them for tracking purposes.
Exactly.
And identify which stage or where exactly you're at.
Yeah, and this picture actually shows a comparison between the SLS rocket, SpaceX Starship under development, and the NASA Saturn V rocket used for the Apollo missions.
Yes.
And actually you see the Saturn V is just a tiny bit bigger than SLS, but actually it's also a little bit more powerful. Actually, to bring a payload from Earth orbit to the Moon, with a translunar injection, Saturn V could bring 50 tons of payload to the Moon, whereas SLS can bring about 26 tons. So this is still a very powerful rocket, the Saturn V.
Yes, but the SLS boosters are quite more stronger, and in addition you need to reach the escape velocity to even reach the Moon. And to get to these 11 kilometers per second, you really need additional booster power to escape Earth's gravity, basically.
Yeah, so the funny thing is, so the lift-off thrust of SLS is bigger than Saturn V. Yes. The only thing is that the upper stage of Apollo was so much more powerful. And so that's a bit of rocketry that's interesting to do math with.
We're not landing on the moon with this Artemis mission yet. So this Artemis mission will not land on the moon, but the next Artemis mission will prep for that.
Yeah. So next year we'll see a launch of SLS again, but not going to the moon, but actually testing out how to dock with landers. And then Artemis 4 and 5 actually will do that in moon orbit and then land on the moon.
Yes, but with the current situations of NASA constantly changing their schedule, we will see what exactly the timeline will be.
Yeah, so lots of things are changing.
Yes.
Also, we just heard they're gutting the NASA budget, as the White House says, well, let's gut it, only not for these programs, but still NASA, I don't know. So it's not really good for NASA,
no,
I think.
For NASA it's not ideal, but for Europe this gives an ideal opportunity to step up our game, because most part of Gateway, the lunar space station, is built here in Europe. So we have all the hardware and we have the capacity. We just need to align our heads, work with international partners, and make sure that we have a clear plan on how we can continue.
We also just saw on the screen the booster separation as seen from the SLS rocket. So these giant arrows being thrown off the SLS rocket. And so, this was also a great step for safety, that you get rid of those boosters.
Yes.
They're also dangerous things. And here we see the ICEE.Space separation. So we're looking from the rocket to the crew module, basically, with this upper stage. You see lots of dust flakes here and paint and stuff that's being reflected by the sun. This is another video from the ground pad looking at the ignition of the rocket. This is quite an intense happening. Just big explosion, basically, controlled explosion. I don't know if this camera really can survive.
And as you can see, there's a lot of water release on the lower level, and this is basically to reduce the impact of the flames and the shock that is coming from this launch.
The acoustic from the floor would be devastating for the rocket if they would keep it like that, and with water they can suppress that.
So acoustic noise and vibration tests and thermal tests and vacuum tests are all different tests that they do before they actually launch a rocket or prepare for a launch. For humans, this is a bit different, because we cannot subject a human to a vibration test and see how fast they oscillate.
No, let's not do that. Let's not put a human on a vibration table. I don't know, there was also a video of the astronaut, Victor Glover. As he was on board, he was training, actually exercising, and after that he was cleaning himself. You know more about that.
Exactly, because an astronaut needs to exercise every day, 1 to 2 hours, and this is to maintain the muscle mass. Astronauts lose the muscles very quickly in microgravity or like lesser gravity environments, is because you don't have to exert the same force, but you're still sweating. That means that the sweat will stay on the skin, because there's not like an air that with gravity that can actually take the sweat off. And also these particles will not only stick to your skin, but also start getting irritations. So a lot of astronauts report that once they've been in space, after a few days, they get severe eczema, rashes all over their bodies, or irritations. And this can also lead to bacterial infections, because you start to scratch when you have eczema or when you have a skin irritation, and then basically you create this open wound. When you have bacteria that stays on your skin, this can have severe consequences for the crew. So it's very important that they need to stay up to date with their health, making sure that they are clean, using wet wipes or cleaning wipes.
There's no shower on board, right?
No, there's no shower. I'm not sure how long you guys can last without a shower, but they don't have this luxury.
And I also heard that especially the feet, basically the fungi that live on your feet, on Earth they of course stay on the floor, but in space, in microgravity, just start floating. And if you inhale those fungi, they can be quite harmful. So
exactly.
That's why I think he was really cleaning his feet to keep all that fungi away from the air.
As well for the rest of the crew, because basically there's no up and down. Dust, fungi, bacteria, it will all be everywhere around you. And if someone is scratching their feet, it means that your crew will inhale that. So you really have to make sure that your crew health is optimal. So if you're a germaphobe, then space will be a little bit more complicated.
Yeah. So how do you look in the future for Artemis? Given also Gateway has been on the X, it has been away.
NASA has put Gateway on the X. We haven't seen the feedback yet from ESA and from other partners, international partners that are involved in Gateway. So we're waiting on their plan of approach on how to continue forward with Gateway.
Yeah, but do you think that ESA will continue with Gateway, or?
Maybe partially. Maybe they will take a small element of it and make something on their own. And the Chinese are also planning something, so.
Yeah, and the Chinese are of course working together on this ground base on the moon, together with the Russians, I believe. They have set up a cooperation, but for me that's a bit vague. What's going on there? I more think about the Chinese. Well, they take the lead instead of the Russians, but that's what's going on now. I think the race to the moon surface between Artemis and the Chinese.
Yes, and maybe other parties that will also come forward and accelerate.
Yeah,
we'll see this next space race.
Basically. And it should happen in 2 years, right? So they are planning. That's now on the list. So planning 2 Artemis missions in 2 years' time, and I'm sure we will be live again with Applied Aerospace Live covering those missions. But I just hope to see them happen and not get
cancelled.
That's still a bit on my nerve system.
Yeah, also for this launch, for the SLS, there was like a decade of work. These astronauts have been training for more than a decade just to get to this point. So it's not just the launch that you saw like 2 days ago, but it's everything that's leading up to it.
Yeah, and it takes so much work, and then especially the launch with the SLS, and there are many people working on it, and then after 8 minutes, it's done, finished, and it's on. And so all those people that worked on the rocket, they did all the work, and then it's such a short period of time, they have to really be on the top of their toes.
But you have to keep that knowledge, and this is also kind of part of the program why it got accelerated, because normally engineers, as you might see in your future jobs or in your current job, you will stay on a position for mostly 3 to 4 years, and then there's a rotation. So if you have the need to know and the know-how how to build a rocket or how to build SLS or how to build a specific component, you will transition probably highly likely to other teams, and that means you take that knowledge with you. That's why they also want to accelerate the Artemis program, to make sure that the right people with the right knowledge are on the right location at the right time.
Yeah, so the cadence of SLS, I mean, all the people that made this launch happen, you want to keep on the program for the next launch, because they have the experience now. Let's have them do the next launch, and not wait for 4 years, and then, like you say, well, they disperse to other jobs, and you get new people in, they have to be trained, they make maybe errors that the other people, they knew already that you should not do that. And
it's a huge human power, logistics, coordination,
so I really hope this acceleration will continue, also given all the geopolitical turbulence. But let's look a bit in the future. So for our Applied Aerospace Live webcast, we will be back on Monday, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is the first Eastern day. We will be eating with our families, and we will be back on Monday. But before we say goodbye for today, I would like to talk about Yuri's Night. Do you know Yuri's Night, actually?
Yes.
Yes?
Yuri Gagarin's special night is on the 15th of April. I think you're organizing instead of the 12th of April?
Exactly, yeah. We should have organized on the 12th of April, because 1961, 12th of April, that was the first human that went into space, Yuri Gagarin, little fellow of 1.56 meters.
Ideal for a small capsule that has to get liftoff.
Yeah, so he made the first orbit around the Earth, became cosmonaut number 1, an icon also for human space. And so in 2001 they started organizing Yuri's Nights as a celebration of 40 years of Yuri Gagarin. And actually this is a yearly party that's going on all over the globe.
All over the world at the same time, people are celebrating the first human that went into space.
Yes, and so we will be celebrating this as well on the 15th of April. So in 1.5 weeks, on a Wednesday, we'll be throwing a party here at the terminal. And I think we'll also have a Applied Aerospace Live webcast on that day. And we're having pizza with our students and with all the companies that are here. So you're very much welcome to join as well with your team and also the other companies. We want to have some interesting activities as well. So it's not just drinking and eating pizza, but we've set up our flight simulator where you can sit in a real chair and that moves. And you have like real goggles on there, you see 3D, and you can fly the space shuttle. Wow, and to actually land the space shuttle at Kennedy Space Center in our flight sim. We've got some space retro games set up for everyone. We'll build a Lego gallery of aerospace models. And of course, we hope to have everybody in our house having space suits, like Hugo today, our audiovisual technician. Hugo is wearing today his beautiful T-shirt of the space shuttle carrier. When we finish, Hugo, I would like to show you to the audience with your beautiful T-shirt.
And we are currently trying to also get a vitrinekast. So I don't know exactly how the English word for that is, but basically like a glass locker, and then the ICEE.Space spacesuit will also be demonstrated.
Okay, that's cool.
And we discussed with Nia to have it.
Will that be there on the 15th of
yes,
April?
Yes,
okay, excellent. Yeah, so please go to the website for Yuri's Night. You can register through that website. Actually, you have to send an email to me and then register for the pizza. And be there on the 15th of April. Look at the beautiful ICEE.Space suit and have a look at our terminal as well, because we're doing lots of great stuff here on the aerospace field. So with that, Charlotte, I would like to thank you for co-hosting. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
You're welcome.
Very excited to be here, and I think I have to get going to get the mission started.
Yes, you are testing actually.
Yes.
Doing some tests this weekend.
For 24 hours, people will be locked up right now in the terminal to run an acceptance test.
Excellent. Well, good luck with that. So it's a wrap. May the force be with you. Yeah. Okay.